Sadashivasamaramabha
I will repeat. Om Sadashiva
Shivasamarambham
Shankaracharya Madhyamam
Shankaracharyamadhyamam
Asmadacharya Paryantam
Asmadacharyaparyantam
Vande Guru Paramparam.
Vande Guru Paramparam.
So the title for today's session is the what, the why, and the how of moksha. I understand that a lot of you are already a part of this home study group, and some of you have had the opportunity of listening to live teaching. And so I understand that there are different levels. So I will be asking some questions just to get a sense of where everybody is at. The last two sessions, we spoke about our roles and we spoke about our priorities. And here we didn't look at priority as let me prioritize what I need to do today. That's in terms of managing time. Anyway, time cannot be managed. You can only manage what you do in the time. You can't manage time. And so, if I cannot manage time and I have to manage what I do in that time, then I need to be clear what I am doing and why I am doing that. So I'm leading to what we refer to as viveka. That what is the connection I see between what I'm doing in my life with what I really want. And so we looked at the many priorities that are very, very important to all of us and the best way in which we think we can meet those priorities. The priority we defined as a need behind the need. And we also, I mean, everybody, was kind enough to send me homework. And I got a better sense of everybody's background, at least most people. And also the fact of your commitment to a spiritual priority. So different people have written different things about what they understand as their spiritual priority. Given what all goes on in the name of spirituality, there's a lot to be said. So now, the spiritual priority, really, really, if you look at it, what is underlying all my priorities, whether it is a priority in the physical area in terms of the way I maintain my health, if it is my need for companionship or connectedness, however I choose to meet it, if it is my social needs, then again, how I want to meet it, whether I need to have 10,000 likes on Facebook or it's okay to just meet with close friends, so everybody decides how best they want to meet their priority. And it's important to move from functioning at a desire level to a priority level. Because then what one finds is that every single day I can meet my priority and that makes me a really successful person. And I can lead my life. So we hear a lot of definitions of what it means to be a leader. And there's a lot of management books written on the same in terms of leadership styles. And while all of that may be true, may be applicable, I have a very simple definition for a leader. A leader is the one who leads his or her life in line with his or her priorities. And so, if I can lead my life, there may be other people who get inspired by that. If I can lead my life well, then there may be people who choose to follow but it doesn't matter, because here it doesn't matter if I have a designation or a position, or where I work or what I do, how many people I engage with, because I lead my life in line with my priorities. One big priority being for all my actions to be in line with dharma. And so we want to move to having a great deal of competence in our life. The Gita is addressed to Arjuna. Arjuna had tremendous competence. A lot of the times, many people only focus on his despair, and unfortunately, there are different things like, I can't even remember, anxiety, neurosis, these kinds of very stupid uh, diagnosis. These are, clinical psychology definitions that don't even apply. And a lot of people, focus a lot on his despondency, his despair, all of that. And that is absolutely true. But one thing that we don't acknowledge enough of Arjuna is that he was a warrior. And that in his, whatever was his field of action, he excelled. There were no shortcuts. It was not like, acha, I'm trying to shoot an arrow, we'll see if it happens, it's okay. If the arrow doesn't go where it needs to, it doesn't matter, it's okay, I have prasada buddhi. If prasada buddhi is understood wrongly, then we may say that, it's okay, I will accept whatever it is. He was focused, he was ambitious, and he achieved a lot in life. So this is very, very important for us to recognize. And therefore, for us to understand what is the spiritual priority that I'm really, really seeking, not only me, everybody, I have to have a certain competence in the way I deal with life, in the way in which I lead my own life. Do I allow others to lead it? Am I the sidekick in the plot of the story? Or am I truly the hero or the heroine, whatever it is? Or am I the villain of the piece? I can do a lot of things that may be quite self-damaging. I don't even realize it. And so I want to claim power. I want to claim power in case it has been given away, consciously or unconsciously, and be able to lead my life in line with priorities. Having said that, why is it that I want to have these roles in life? Some roles are by default, in terms of the kind of family I've been born into, at least on the face of it. And some roles are by design. In case of the people I choose to be with, whether it is friends, whether it is a partner I choose to be with, etc., etc. And if I really, the more and more I think about it, the reason I want to play the role well, I want fulfillment from that role, is because I want to be happy. So this is quite straightforward, it's quite obvious. So then the question is, okay, whatever be the roles, whatever be the priorities, is it that I want to be happy only in my professional role? No. I want to be happy in all the roles. Why only professional? Okay. So then, and this is a question, if we ask anybody across the world, uh, whether the person is works in the small scale sector, let's say in Ulhasnagar, a small place in close to Bombay, whether the person is a Kashmiri Pandit, whether the person is an it belongs to Australia, I think it's pronounced as Aborigines. So anybody, if we speak to in their language, the reason I want to have all these priorities fulfilled in the social, financial, professional area is that I want to be happy unconditionally. I don't want conditions associated. I want to be happy in all the roles that I play. That's why I choose to play those roles well. Even before I play the roles, whether or not I play the role, that I also want to be happy at all times. So it's not ki nahi, only when I wake up in the morning I want to be happy. I want to be happy at all times. Oh, only while sleeping? No. Only while vacation? No. While working? Yes. All the time, this human need to be happy is always peeping behind my shoulder in all the priorities that I want to fulfill. What about place? So we do, in psychology, we do safe space exercises. Where is it that I feel safe? Where is it that I feel comfortable? Where is it that I feel loved and cared for? So here, if I say which is a place you want to feel happy, and everybody will say, okay, I mean, w- is home okay? No, no. Even when I walk on the streets, I want to be okay. I want to be happy. Even whether I walk into a mall, I want to be happy. If I walk out without finding what I want, I still want to be happy. So this desire to be happy in all times, in all places, in all situations is what all of us are seeking. So there are no exceptions to this. Absolutely no exceptions to this. And this is something that I'm sure all of us recognize. But what happens is that sometimes our lot is like an infant that has been strapped. So an infant, let's say a 6-month-old infant, wants to crawl, wants to, because feels helpless. And so wants to crawl, and then as the months go by, the infant also wants to stand, wants to sit and explore the environment. But imagine if this infant is strapped and cannot move. And in a short while, so the mother or whoever is a caregiver will say, no, no, don't worry. You can't win, you can win some, you can lose some. You can't expect too much from life. You be happy. You be happy with what you're getting. As long as you're getting fed, as long as you're getting something to eat, it's okay. As long as you're getting cleaned, it's okay. Why do you want to strive for anything more than this? Why? What is the need? What is the need to strive for anything more? And so the infant will try and try for a while, but in a few months, perhaps a few years, if the infant continues to be strapped to the bed, will say, "Hi, yaar, this is my lot. Maybe I'm expecting too much from life. Maybe this is not what it's meant to be." And so, this desire to be happy in all times, in all situations, in all places, first of all, I have not seen anybody like that. So then, if I also ask somebody, is this possible? So, of course, the person will be very politely or very rudely shut up. And so so then what happens is, because of what I have understood from society in terms of the answers they have given to me, I'm very much like that little infant who does not even want to try. So Lokmanya Tilak said, Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it. And our little infant espouses the same thing. That the infant does not want to be limited by place, does not want to be limited by time, does not want to be limited by any situation or any person. you know so the happiness that we seek, we don't want it to be conditional. We don't want conditions apply. We don't want that at all. And the fact is that it has that desire, that very deep yearning, is something that lies below all our roles, below all our priorities. And so it almost seems impossible. And so you think, well, maybe this is just your imagination. Well, actually, no. There are uh, there are a lot of wise people who have discovered themselves to be Ananda. So I'm now going to shift to using the word Ananda. So that I am not limited. I am not limited by time or by place or by a situation. So that is the happiness that I seek. It is unconditional. It is not limited by time, place, or by any situation, not even by any person. And so, if for a moment I appreciate that this is a possibility, then this is what we are calling moksha. And the good news is that it is you. The even better news is that you have a human birth. So you have just the right mix of punya papa for you to discover this. And given that all of us are, associated with a parampara, it's not only about a teacher. All of us are associated with a teaching tradition. And it's not that some of the rishis were on bhang, it's not that they were on marijuana, you know. So there is so much that is there in our tradition, all to make this point clear, that this infant who thought that it's not possible to be happy in all places, in all situations, at all times, it is possible. And so therefore, in the context of the spiritual priority that we have articulated, for ourselves, we also have to understand what is this nature of moksha that we are talking about, So the nature of, I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with it, but I just want to say this. So when I am happy, all of us, no matter how difficult our lives have been, we've had moments of happiness. When I am happy, whatever be the nature of experience, I don't want things to be different. I don't struggle against happiness. So this I find, it is very sahajam. I find it very natural to be happy. I also, it doesn't matter where I am happy. It doesn't, I could be on the street, I could be sharing a vada pav like a burger, Indian burger, Maharashtrian more so, with a child on the street, and he may say, okay, Didi, aap adha le lo, you please take half. And there is a lot of happiness, that I see in the child. And not like the child has achieved a lot of priorities or this, that, the other. Doesn't matter. Just the act of sharing makes him happy. And so it doesn't really matter. When we really look into all our moments of happiness, whether, it didn't matter where we were, it didn't matter with whom we were, it didn't matter what we were doing. The moment that I was happy, full stop. And at that point in time, I did not experience any limitation. I didn't experience certain conditions attached. I didn't experience the limitation of time. I didn't experience the limitation of the place that I was in. It didn't matter where I was on the streets. I could have been at a 5-star dinner. It doesn't matter. Or just having a wonderful conversation. It didn't really matter when I was happy with whom I was or what I was doing. And so this freedom from limitation is what we refer to as moksha. So then the question is this limitation real? And the good news is that it's not. Because we define reality as that which cannot be negated. So when we say that which cannot be negated, which means that which always is. That which always is. So that means that it is not subject to conditions. So any product I buy, conditions apply. I sign up to Google Hangout, conditions apply. but with what is understood as moksha, and that, when Lokmanya Tilak said Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it, the way we go about our lives is that, you know it's almost obsessive. It's almost obsessive, it's compulsive. I'm compelled to find happiness because I figured that maybe it's out there somewhere. And what is refreshing about the Veda is that it says that, if you have been silenced like the infant, that no, you can't be happy all times, all places, all situations. That's not something that, you know, you, you've got to be more. So we've heard these things, yeah? Be more realistic about what you want. Don't, don't expect the moon, or that you win some, you lose some. So why do you want to have it all? It's not possible to have it all. So all of this, the Veda silences all these murmurs and rumbles of all the people who have said that please, you can continue to be an underachiever. Make do with the usual lifestyle. Make do with it, and don't expect to be happy all the time. That's the nature of life. And nowadays, you youngsters, so now this is a new thing. So this young generation wants to have it all, and sooner or later you will realize you can't have it all, etc., etc. And so then the question is that if such a possibility exists, then is it something that I want to commit to? Because for most of us, we are quite feeling centered, you know. So for us, spirituality becomes a feeling. I want to feel good. I want to experience happiness, let's say. And so what I find is, and all of us, because an experience has given me happiness, therefore, I choose to repeat every experience. I choose to repeat it. Fair enough, it's quite logical. I repeat every experience. Then what happens is this: the first gulab jamun, very nice. Fifth, okay. 10th, 15th, I cannot stand gulab jamuns. I'm repelled by it. Why? It was the same gulab jamun. It was the same halwai. My taste buds are also the same. My taste buds didn't get burnt. But the law of diminishing marginal utility kicks in. That the same thing that I thought gave me pleasure, gave me happiness, gave me sukha, no more does it for me. And so this whole strategy of repeating an experience, wanting new things. I remember I had this, a great desire for travel, and I wanted to experience new things, you know, and then when I really looked at what it is, what is that newness? What is that newness that I wanted to experience? And it's really that I am seeking that fulfillment, whenever or wherever I am. For a lot of us, we find that, of course, travel educates us. We also find a certain freedom while traveling, more so if one is traveling alone, or if even one is traveling with another person, you somehow feel free. The conditions that we have chosen for them to bind us, during our routine back at home, we are in many ways, in the process of travel, we free ourselves from those routines, and therefore the assumptions and the beliefs that go with my routine. And so a lot of us are freer. So we also see this at any party. So most people are very sociable, they're very relaxed. If they've had a drink, then of course they are more relaxed, etc., etc. And it's the same person, and you think, oh, what happened to this person? It's just that the person is more relaxed. Because I don't know how to relax. Even when I call up some customer care center, I am forced to hear a caller tune. Why? Because they know that I'm getting bored, because I can't stand myself. And so whether a caller tune or a lot of messages, which is okay, in terms of their marketing strategy, but the fact that I can't handle this restlessness. And really speaking, who else is there when I'm waiting for somebody to answer the phone, the operator? I'm with myself. And earlier in India, there used to be these STD booths. I don't know. I mean, if you all have ever had made calls from it, and it's a quite a visual masterpiece. The walls of the STD booth, because everybody loves to make doodles. Because they get so bored waiting that I have to do something. I have to do something, and therefore you will see all kinds of drawings and doodles. And even now, when we are listening, we don't even realize how the restlessness manifests itself. So really speaking, the underlying priority or the need behind all my needs, besides the physical need, is that this need for fulfillment, what we are calling moksha. Why do we call it moksha? Because it is coming from much dhatu, and meaning that I want to be free. Moktum ichha. I want to be free. So Queen in the 1980s, that pop group, I think. So very popular song, I Want to Be Free. Huh? I don't remember the detailed lyrics, but I remember that it was a very popular song, and everybody related to it. And it was not only about the beat, it was not only about the rhythm. And it very beautifully taps into this need for moksha, what we are calling mumukshutvam. So now, if such a possibility exists, that I can be happy in all places, in all situations, at all times, then what am I willing to commit to? So will I, if Arjuna had just left it to chance, that, oh, I'm shooting my arrow somewhere, maybe it may hit the target, maybe it won't. So I commit to moksha, maybe it will happen, maybe it won't. We don't know. मतलब life को किसने देखा है? So how do we know? We can't predict, etc., etc. Then we can't have any more sessions. Okay. So what is required is that if I commit to something, it means I am willing to do whatever it takes to get it. So just like if I had committed to a PhD, then whatever it takes, if it means managing with a guide that is not really a guide, So I don't know if you've heard horror stories of PhD students. Some of them are lucky, but a lot of them are not. So irrespective of my guide, irrespective of the kind of research papers that I have to do, I don't have to do all the work that is required. I'm willing to do. It's tough. I don't like it. Some of it is very new. I have to grow into learning many things. But I commit to it because I want that PhD. And so this desire for moksha, if I'm wishy-washy about it, kabhi na kabhi ho jayega, then it's not for me. Because it requires a lot of staying power. The good news is it's yourself, So there's nothing, you don't have to reach yourself because you are very much here and now. You don't have to purify yourself in your true nature. The body better be purified because there are people around you and you are considerate. If there is something that needs to be taken care with the mind, then yes, something is required on that respect. But the good news is that you neither need to be purified, you as Atma, as Satchidananda, we'll be talking more about that later. The Ananda, the unconditional Ananda that you are, that our nature is, it doesn't need to be purified, it doesn't need to be reached, it doesn't need to be transformed. I don't have to become this Ananda. So I can work myself, because we a lot of us, we can be so feeling centered that, oh, but I don't feel good. Okay, so what about it? A feeling is fleeting. That's all that there is. But no, no, no. I want to feel good. And whether we like it or not, we have to recognize we are feeling centered. So I'm not here, and neither is any traditional guru there to make you feel good. Okay, that's not our commitment. That you may feel good is incidental. Okay, but the commitment is for every student to recognize his or her true nature. Nothing less. Nothing less. And so the commitment to this moksha, uh, all of us have, because I find that I am in this obsessive compulsive behavior, that I will try and manipulate a lot of situations so that I'm happy. I will try and change people around me so that I'm happy. I will try and change the furniture around. So let's have a change. I'm bored with this. I will change that around also. And so the desire for moksha is there in everybody. So then now what shall we do about it? We can we can do a lot of things about it. And there's lots going on in the spiritual world in terms of uh, what is it that will make you feel good, right from walking on grass. So take off your shoes, walk on the grass, look at the daffodils, etc., etc. Go on vacation, go, have a um, have a massage, go to a spa. And now all these uh, centers are also taken. When I was looking at making a small sort of a website, and that time it was about, when I was looking at, is Ananda the name taken? It's not. I mean, Ananda the spa, moksha is a gym, happiness is a restaurant. I'm talking about Bombay and I'm talking about India. So all these names are taken. So anyway, that's a small digression. But the point is that all these experiences I can try and repeat, and a lot goes on in the spiritual world in terms of moksha. And I have to make a small journey. I have to make that journey from wanting moksha to knowing the truth, jignasa. Because if I do not make that journey, and I'll explain what that journey is, then for me, moksha is all about feeling good. It's nothing else. So this journey of moktum ichha, mumuksha, the desire for moksha, how does that translate into wanting to know? There is no connection. On the face of it, there is no connection. So now when I look even a little more deeper in terms of what is the nature of that moksha. I find that in all the happy experiences, I have taken myself to be a limited being. In all my roles, again, I'm either the karta or the bhokta. I'm either the one to whom things are being done, or I'm the one who does things to others, whatever be, good, bad, ugly. And so, I have made an error. I don't feel good because of what I have taken myself to be. How come I took myself to be like this? Because I found myself associated with this mind body. Why is that? Because I don't know who I am. What we also refer to as avidya. So I don't, but then I am so and so. I am associated with a profession. I have traveled to many countries. I can truly be called a global citizen. So I have all these identities. So of course I know who I am. What do you mean? You don't know who you are? No. In terms of who that I is, it needs a little inquiry. So the whole sorrow, the dissatisfaction that I experience as a human being is not coming from an emotional problem. You know, this Miss Universe, so this pageant, the lady, or it may be also applicable to Mr. Universe, whoever is declared as the Miss Universe, uh, the next day when she steps out for her various engagements, she wears makeup, and then she may go into a lot of other beautifying, enhancing procedures. And why is that? Because, you know, she has already been declared as the most beautiful person, not only on this earth. In our arrogance, we assume that there are no living forms in other parts of the of our galaxy, and so she is in the universe. She's the most beautiful person. Okay, so definitely opportunity for her to feel very secure. You know, कि मेरे से बढ़कर और कौन है? I am the most beautiful. But no, the self conscious nature, and it's not only about her, it's about us as well. It always kicks in, and that's great. You know, if I'm self conscious, that's brilliant. But when I become self judging, then that is where I go wrong. And then this self dissatisfaction that I experience it because of my continuous dissatisfaction. You know, so the various experiences that I've had in life, I may choose to repeat it, I may choose to not repeat it, whatever it is, good, bad, ugly, I feel dissatisfied. I can't be in the moment because I am ruminating about the past. I can't be in the moment because I'm planning for the future. And it is common to us people. This dissatisfaction that I experience is not an emotional problem. This is very, very important to recognize. So, no matter what I try to do to feel good, it will stop short. And then this law of diminishing marginal utility will kick in. So, if I went to a spa to feel good, then I have to make repeated attempts. I have to keep going to the spa, or maybe probably set up a spa at home. And then it will not give me what I want. It's going to diminish. So this whole chakkar of feeling good, because I think that I have to feel good to be happy all the time, I have to recognize that it won't work. That my dissatisfaction does not come from this emotional problem. It comes from an error I have made about who I am. It comes from an error I have made. It's a mistake about who I am. And if it's a mistake, it's pretty straightforward. It needs to be rectified. That's all. So there's no need for a lot of song and drama. You know, oh, I can't do this. I can't make myself feel good. I've tried this. I've tried so many experiences. I've tried hanging out with different kinds of people. I bought even the latest iPhone, but not working. It won't. So the sooner I realize that this feeling good factor, that it is limited, and that's not the solution to the problem, the sooner I will recognize that if it is a mistake and it has to be rectified, then it converts itself to jignasa. That I need to know who I am, because the Veda presents a very, very refreshing view. It says that you are limitless, that you are not conditioned by time, you are not conditioned by place, you are not conditioned by the people you know or you don't know. If you're in Delhi, you know, you have to get around by saying, don't you know who I am? Or I know this so and so. I'm making a generalization, maybe things are changing, but a part of my identity is the people I know and how influential they are. The Veda says that you are consciousness and you have always been so. Okay, so that's even better news. It's not that there's some transformation required. And the sense of bondage that I feel, the sense of limitation I feel, is only a sense. It was never there. So then the question is, which I is being spoken about here? Because I seem to have lost the plot. So then that requires some inquiry. And so that's something that we will do, and perhaps a lot of us are already doing, in terms of who I really am. So we will walk through identities, we'll walk through roles, we'll walk through this whole um, the strongest identity, being a karta and a bhokta. So we'll walk through that, yeah, in the next session perhaps. Um, so the what of moksha is really that this freedom from the sense of limitation I have. The limitation is not real. If the limitation was real, and because I've already defined reality, reality is that which cannot be negated, then I could have very well been like that infant who is trapped and says, there's no chance you can move around. Don't even try, because that is my lot. I have to suffer my limitations, and so therefore I go with the territory. So you win some, you lose some, don't expect too much. I would have been okay with that. But it's not so. And so if I recognize that the purpose of my life, really, the deeper that I will rest content only when I can be fulfilled at all times. And it's not that I'm greedy. It's not that I'm asking for something that I can't get. It is my birthright, actually. As Lokmanya Tilak said, it is Swaraj in this sense that I'm defining it. It's moksha. It is my birthright. And so, therefore, what is the kind of commitment that I'm willing to give it in terms of wanting to know? Because it is an error, it is a mistake that I have made. And mistake can only be corrected by correct knowledge. If it's ignorance, then obviously correct knowledge can only correct it. Any attempt at trying to feel good will not correct it for me. And that's something that I understand. So the why of moksha is really, it is that unwept sorrow in every human heart, whether expressed, whether not, but it is unwept. Yeah, and it expresses itself as that self dissatisfaction. And so the why is clear, the what is clear, the how is really being, for looking for that knowledge that will correct my mistake. The good news is that it's a universal mistake, and there is this universal knowledge that any person who is committed to self growth will recognize. But if I am too caught up with my past, if I have not processed it, if I have not resolved it, then I'm going to have some obstacles. The how of moksha, see, on the face of it, it's really one sentence. Tattvamasi. That's it. Full stop. Okay? But to understand that, we have so many texts. There has been so much happening in the oral tradition. And then there is commentary on commentary, and I'm not using those technical words, bhashya and tika, but there's commentary on commentary as to how it needs to be looked at, why it needs to be looked at in this way, what are the objections to it, what are the contradictions, why is it that this is tenable, this tattvamasi. So the whole journey really is from eye to eye. So that's again the good news. I may travel all over the world, but my travel is not complete if I have not made this journey from eye to eye. Which eye are we talking about? That eye which is currently associated with mind body sense complex, to the limitless eye that is really my true nature. That is a journey worth making, because it's really a pathless journey. But because we like the notion of a journey, so I'm just adding it as an analogy here. So having said this, I would now want to invite questions or any reflections that people may have.
Okay, Swamiji, from what I understand is, if I examine my roles and responsibilities right now, I can see that Artha and Kama are my immediate goals, are something which I'm looking to complete it. They are my short-term goals. Of course, it will be backed by Dharma, but Moksha will is my long-term goal.
Okay.
So, in that sense, can I would not want to use the word experience, but
Yes.
can I
Can.
move towards yeah, can I move towards understanding of moksha, and how will I know when is the right time that I'll recognize it?
So you said that Artha and Kama are short-term goals. Uh, See, Artha, I think, is a long-term goal for all of us. Okay, in the sense that for you know that I need things to sustain my life is valid for me at every stage of life. This roti, kapda, makan. Okay, even for animals, it's true. When we're looking at Artha, see, thankfully they don't need kapda because they have been gifted. Whether you're looking at a squirrel, you're looking at a whale, you are looking at a tortoise, they are gifted in very unique ways. So they don't have to worry. Or even wild dogs in Alaska. So their hide is much more thicker. So they are gifted with kapda. Roti and makan, they also have to struggle for whatever be the nature of their roti. Whether it's grains, whether it is bones, whether it is nuts, they are also looking for it. Makan, again, whether they make their own nest or it's a hole in the ground or some place where they can rest. So they have to also look into that. So Artha, what I mean by Artha is the sense of security that I derive from it. That I need things to physically sustain myself, to keep the body going, is a need. And it is not something I can figure out what I need, how much I need. All that can be figured out, and that is subjective. It's person to person. But that I need all this to keep me going is is a fact. The security that I derive from this is what we are referring to as artha. So therefore, oh, I work at, let's say, Infosys. So I work at Infosys. So of course it's giving me a lot of money, but there is so much more associated with it in terms of social status, prestige, opportunities, etc., etc. So the whole, when you say moksha is a long-term goal, actually it is, I don't even think it's a long-term goal for you. It is a goal that you have articulated because you are looking for moksha, in the sense of this happiness at different times in the day. Okay, whatever be the role, whatever be the priority, whatever be the responsibility, you are looking for it. So the desire for moksha, the need for moksha is uh, just sorry. I'm sorry, I can't.
No, me too. It's 2 minutes.
Okay, just give me 2 seconds. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So here what I'm looking at is that the desire for moksha is clear, but what I want to do about it, whether I want to, if I want to find, if I want to inquire into myself, I'm already a part of this group. If I'm exposed to a live teacher, then I can know who I am. So if I put it off as a long-term goal, well, first of all, I don't even know whether I'm going to survive. Like y'all are familiar with Bhagavatam, so Parikshit and Shuka. So Parikshit got to know that he would survive only for 7 days, and so he wanted to be exposed to some knowledge. And so when he asked Shuka, please teach me. because I only have 7 days to live. And Chuka laughed and he said, wow, you have 7 days to live. I don't know if I'm going to be alive even the next moment. There are no guarantees. So the goal, the desire for moksha is already there. Then the question is that, do I want to convert it into jignasa? Because there's no other way. One can try this feel good, journey for as long as one wants, until one will actually have sensory fatigue. I don't know if people have experienced this. When you go to a very beautiful place and you live there for a long time, then the way in which the senses were stimulated earlier, they no longer hold. And the place is still as beautiful, but there is also what we call sensory overload. And so here, even kama, that I seek pleasure because I want happiness. So whether or not I call it short-term goal, long-term goal, I decide what is good enough for me. Moksha being a long-term goal. So I've already said that it's not a long-term goal because it is a current goal. What I want to do about it? Do I want to pursue the study of Vedanta? Do I not want to do it? There I have a choice. And it's a very important choice to be made. So that choice, again, I can make it. That no, right now I would rather focus on living a dharmic life. I will do good, be good, and I'm happy with it. And that's great. That's brilliant. And that is actually what will be looking at in terms of the how of moksha, in terms of the adhikaritvam that is required for adhikaritvam, in terms of my capability, my fitness. If I want to run a marathon and I can't, walk a couple of miles without exhaustion, then I mean with exhaustion, suppose if I, even 2 miles if I walk and I'm so exhausted, there's no chance I will run a marathon. And so even for moksha, there will, it's because I've already spoken about it as a pathless journey. It's a little tricky because my self-condemning voices will come back. They say, oh, you're not making any progress. What are you doing? You have to do so much more for adhikaritvam, etc., etc. And so there I need staying power. Yeah. Am I answering your question, Unnati?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Anything else?
Swamini,
Yes.
yeah, I had a question. As you said, moksha is not about feeling good or any of that. It's about understanding. So my question is there some sort of an experiential aspect of moksha? If that makes any sense.
Experiential aspect of moksha. See, what is it we call an experience? An experience is sensory information and a conclusion, right? So I have a drink. Wonderful. I experience some sensory pleasure, and I conclude it's wonderful. For some people who like blue cheese, other people may find that, oh my God, this really stinks. But some people, they relish it. So when you ask, is there an experiential aspect to moksha? Yes. Why am I saying yes? Because you are the basis of all experiences. And so what in the vision of Vedanta, what you see yourself to be is naturally going to translate into every experience. You could be quietly sitting Ananda, you could be roaring with laughter Ananda. That is not, it's not to say that your Ananda is less or more. Yeah. So there is an experiential aspect to it. Yeah.
Swamini, this is Shalini. I'm sorry, my voice is not good today.
No problem.
My question is, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm a very beginner. So moksha is not just like you do your stuff, but don't get attached to it. So it's all inclusive in life. Moksha is not something a faraway goal or a reaching object. It's a inclusive thing, right? Whatever we are doing, like if I am cooking, that is also moksha is inclusive there also. If I'm cooking, I'm eating, but I'm not too much addicted to that taste. Okay, I have to have this kind of taste of that, but doing best what we are doing, but not getting attached to that. It's correct me. I'm like I want more clarification, because for me, if I'm talking to people, they always have this. Oh, moksha is like something which is like some other planet thing where we have to reach. Is it not like everyday thing?
Okay. So now, one thing I want to be clear about is that the whole pursuit of moksha is for myself. Okay. And I cannot convince people. I have no desire to convince people because it's a personal pursuit. So there will be for anything there will be a lot of opinions and opinions. People may say whatever they want to. In the spiritual world, there is a lot spoken about detachment. And as Puja Swamiji says, only train compartments get detached. So nothing else. There is no other detachment. Even Siamese twins, okay? Siamese twins, we can't talk about their detachment because, they can't survive for very long if they are connected in the way that they are. So then for two bodies to be distinct, maybe there we can talk about detachment. So then what is this detachment we are talking about? We don't know actually what people mean when they say detachment. We speak about objectivity. So is it just jargon? No. Because we find we are connected to people, we are connected to situations. I'm talking about the sense of connectedness, right? Not that we are, connected to people as in we're always holding hands and we do everything holding hands. I don't mean it in that way. So physically, we are a part of a physical universe and we are connected in many ways. Emotionally also, because of our need for connectedness, we find that we also feel connected or disconnected, depending on how each person's situation is. So moksha, the freedom from the sense of limitation that I experience, is not about detachment. I experience problems in my relationships when I get over involved, when I get over identified. And so, as a qualification for the study of what we call Brahma Vidya, self-knowledge, I need to have certain qualities. All of us have these qualities in some measure. We are looking at, in many ways, cultivating it, invoking it. And so moksha is not detachment, because if what is the point of living in the world where anyway I can't be detached, so, and moksha is not about aloofness either, because what have I achieved by aloofness? The more and more I try to be unique, the more I find myself isolated. The more I try to develop my talents, skills and abilities, I find there are only a niche group of people who can have a conversation with me. So in my whole desire to be unique, I feel more and more isolated, I feel alienated, and therefore my need for connection is greater. So in our Arshavidya Sampradaya, Parampara, we do not talk about detachment. We don't think desire is a problem. We move from functioning from our desires to functioning from our priorities. We look at the larger framework of dharma, and we focus more and more on reality. We focus more on objectivity, which will be a good way in which we can look at some of the qualities that are required for the study of myself, which I think we will probably do next time if people don't have any other topics to suggest. Does that help, Shalini, or do you have a follow-up question to that?
Yeah, actually, I should have used the right word, not as a detached from like isolating myself and going to Himalaya. Detachment of what I meant was like whatever I am doing, I just do it with the full heart without thinking that okay, I'm doing this so that later on I'll have less desires or freedom from all these things. Whatever we are doing, it just doing with the full heart and the happiness. I mean,
See, that's
that
wonderful for
does
that.
it make more sense?
Yeah. See, this is what goes on in the name of a lot of New Age spirituality. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, so do everything with a full heart. Wonderful. If it works for you, great.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
We don't need to go into what the Veda has to say. See, if I'm happy with this, this working with a full heart, because I will find sooner or later that others around me, they don't give their full heart to situations, they don't give their full heart to whatever they are doing. And that's going to frustrate me. And
Exactly. You're so right.
so then I have to think, well, is this good enough for me? And then I will feel more isolated because karte raho, chinta mat karo, etc., etc. You keep doing, don't worry, you do everything with a very genuine heart. Throw your intention into the universe. Our original sankalpa, you may have come up with that book, so talking a lot about power of intention. So the
Right.
intention will do it for you. Well, if intention were to do it for us, then we would just be solar batteries. We can just think and things will appear. There was no reason for us to have hands and legs if we were to not work on the intention. So we
Right.
want we want to be a bit vigilant about this new age spirituality where there is an attempt to simplify things. So I appreciate simplicity, but I must share something that Pujya Swamiji said in Rishikesh a few weeks ago. He said, people think, so quote unquote, yeah, quote, people think I am clear. Sorry. People think I am simple. I am not simple. I am clear. End of quote. And this to me is I mean, among so many brilliant statements that Pujya Swamiji makes, this I really think hits the nail on the head. That there is no, so we may be a bit wary that, oh my God, what study are you talking about? I don't have so much time and I have all these commitments. No problem. The point is, we are not trying to dumb down things, nor are we trying to complicate things. The matter is about clarity. And if we want to focus on the reality, then we want to be clear about it. But if I want to be in this very feel good, wishy washy world, no, I will do good, I will be good. So let me try it out for some time. I won't outright dismiss it. Try it out for some time. And then there will be frustration because other people are not towing the line. And then I will justify it saying, no, 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 but this is called righteous anger. Because, it's their fault. And I will feel more and more isolated. And so therefore I will want to connect with like-minded people and I will find that it's going to be very difficult. So my struggle for becoming happy, that I thought this doing good, being good would have really done the trick for me, not working. So this human limitation, I have to experience it. All of us experience it, but we don't conclude that it is a mistake I have made. So only if I say that, it is something that is so important to me that my life depends on it. In fact, to be honest, my lifetimes depend on this knowledge. If I'm able to see that or even appreciate the possibility, then it's worth going along with it. But like I said earlier, it takes a lot of staying power. Anything else?
I think I'm good now.
Okay. You've got a flower as well.
Yeah,
On
my daughter, she's giving me flower.
Okay. Any questions, any thoughts, any reflections?
Swamini, this is perhaps one of the clearest expositions on the idea of moksha that I've heard till date. So thank you so much for leading us from satsanga to satsanga, and things are getting much clearer, less murkier out there. So I definitely look forward to building upon this frame of thought.
Okay. If anybody has any other questions that you all will think about for the week, luckily there's no homework for this week. But think about this sense of limitation. I mean, that's all I want to say. I'm not saying that I want to feel more sorrowful, the more I think about it. I have to share this. One of my students, when she would go home, so her mother-in-law would say, कि गीता सुनकर घर पे महाभारत मत करना. Listening to the Gita in the class, don't do Mahabharata at home, as in don't fight at home. Okay? So I'm not saying that we want to intensify our sense of limitation, because it's already there. We just need to recognize it and just think. This is just reflection for us during the week, that this feel good chakkar that we are on, when are we going to say, that's good enough? I need to figure out who I am. Okay, so that's just reflection for everybody. Yeah.
Swamiji, I have one last thought, maybe if you can address that. So I know we spoke about the experiential aspect of moksha over here, and in the context that you explained it, it's extremely clear. But there might also be a misconception out there, at least in my experience interacting with people, that they look for an experience called moksha and that they try to seek it within themselves, sitting in meditation. So I thought perhaps if you could clear that misunderstanding.
This is important, yeah. Right now, do you know yourself or do you experience yourself?
I am is self-evident, so it's not an object of my experience.
So the question is, do you know yourself or do you experience yourself? I'm asking the others.
I think we know ourselves. I think I should say for myself, I know myself. I'm not an experience. I can see myself. I'm self-evident, as Prashant said.
Okay, what about the others? Am I experiencing myself or do I know myself?
I know myself.
When I say, let me clarify. When I say, do I know myself, what I mean is, do I know that I exist? That's what I'm referring to. Yeah. Do I know I exist or do I have to experience I exist?
No, we know we exist.
Is everybody sure about this? It's a no-brainer.
I think
But I'm just repeating it. Okay. So I know that the reason I want an experience to complete me, Jerry Maguire, very romantic. You complete me. Tom Cruise said to, I don't know, whoever was the heroine then. Oh, lovely, very nice. So I'm looking for an experience to complete me. But actually, I am the very basis of all experiences. And that is the solution, that is the promise of Vedanta, that is what is said in Vedanta. Because I'm complete, the Vedas are saying it. So this is also very important. I know myself partially. I know that I exist. What I am, I don't know. And so therefore, but that I exist, therefore I can use a pramana. Therefore I use a means of knowledge. That I exist, because I use that means of knowledge, I can know what I am, and I can discover that I am the basis of all experience. So experience is not a big deal for us, it's sensory data plus conclusion. But for the experience hunters of the world, and a lot of us are like that, maybe continue to be like that, I have to discover the basis of the experience. Yeah?
Swamini ji,
Yes?
is the knowledge itself not an experience? I mean, where exactly do you draw the line between knowledge and experience?
Okay, I will try and talk a little bit about it in the next class, because I want for us to see the connection between the way I think with the way I feel. Okay, I want us to be, and I'm talking about common events. Okay, so I want us to be able to see that connection. And I see an experience, I can wish it, I can want it, I can will it to be different. So suppose if um, the temperature in the room is it's hot, it's hot, like right now it's hot in Bombay. It's a fact. Okay, it's a fact. And there is sensory data which tells me that it is hot, people are sweating. If I want to change that experience of feeling hot, the fact is that there is, the temperature is 35 degrees Celsius. That is a fact. But I'm experiencing it as very unpleasant and uncomfortable. So the fact has now translated into my experience because of, my discomfort. But for a person who lives in Andhra Pradesh, 35 degrees very pleasant because they are used to 45 and 55 degrees. 50 degrees, yeah, 50 degrees Celsius. So here, experience, I can wish it, want it, will it to be different. But knowledge is what we call Vastu Tantram. It is as true as the object is. So, can you see the picture of Puja Swami Dayanand Ji behind me? You cannot wish it to be Swami Taranand Giriji, Puja Swamiji's teacher. Although if you want to look at for a metaphorical way or a deeper meaning that, oh, in Puja Swamiji we see all the gurus, we can look at it that way. But that's in terms of the way I want to look at it. But this knowledge is true to the object, and so I cannot wish it to be different. I cannot say, look at the wonderful lion sitting behind me. So you may say, oh, no, Swamiji is like a lion, but actually, but that's still not true. It is not knowledge. And so therefore, we want to be able to distinguish between knowledge and experience. But before we are able to do that, we need to see the connection between our thoughts and our emotions. Because what we are calling an experience is really the emotional high that I'm looking for, in every experience. Otherwise, I wouldn't be an experience hunter. Earlier, Purane Zamane mein, people would collect objects. Now everybody wants to collect experiences. Because objects, because of disposable income and people doing relatively well, objects are acquired in early 20s. So they lose their novelty. But experiences have to be gained more and one more different from the other. Every experience is revealing who I am, is revealing my Ananda actually, borrowed, but I don't see it. So we have to explore this further.
Can I equate emotional knowledge with emotional balance with knowledge of Brahman?
Good question. Emotional balance with the knowledge of Brahman. What is emotional balance? Emotional balance is that I have a sense of equanimity. Maybe I've balanced all of my priorities, which a lot of psychology is aiming for and New Age spirituality is aiming for. Okay, so far so good. Is it the knowledge of Brahman? No. Why? Because emotional balance is still based on the assumption that I am a doer. I am karta. I have to do things for my emotional balance. Because I want emotional balance, I am an experiencer. I am the bhokta. So as long as my conclusion of being a karta, being a bhokta continues, I still feel limited. Because this emotional balance is not an enduring state. It is conditional.
Exactly. So my question here is it possible to achieve emotional balance at all without the knowledge of Brahman?
Most certainly, if I live in line with dharma, then I will have emotional balance, but then I will still continue to have my buttons, which, like if somebody has a remote control to those buttons, then, my life still will not be in my hands. I still can't lead the life I want. So emotional balance is really a fringe benefit of the knowledge of Brahman. But really speaking, the understanding of karma yoga, which again I'm hoping that the next 3 sessions we can look at, uh, will do a lot for my emotional balance. So I will talk more about it because we are out of time, so I don't want to start unfolding it. But very briefly, an abiding acceptance and kaushalam in terms of competence in being able to deal with life in line with dharma is very briefly and very simplistically put is karma yoga. But karma yoga is incomplete because we have not even, we've not spoken about the elephant in the room. And I know that's not meant in a very positive way, but we have not even, besides the prayer at the beginning, and now which we will conclude with a prayer, we have not really spoken about Bhagwan. And so karma yoga is incomplete without the understanding of Bhagwan, but we'll talk more about it next time. And so the whole uh, my life can can become worship if I'm endowed with this buddhi of karma yoga, and emotional balance will then come very naturally to me, very spontaneously to me. Yeah. So we look at it next time. What I'm intending to do over the next 3 sessions, I want to talk a little bit about adhikaritvam. Perhaps we will go into the understanding of karma yoga, and I will be away. I'll actually be in Anikati Ashram in the month of May for 2-3 weeks, and then if this group survives, uh, but my focus is really it's because of Unnati that I started this class. So yeah, if the class survives, then in the month of June I will do a text. I will either do Drigdrishya Viveka or Panchadashi, or whatever is most appropriate. Yeah. So this is what my intention is, Abhinav. So I will just request you to hold on a little bit in the context of emotional balance. If any of you wish to chat with me one-on-one, then just email me and we can set a mutual time. Yeah.
Thank you,
Close?
Swamini.
Yeah, we'll close. Sorry.
Sorry, I don't think I will be able to attend next week's class because I'm going for this Art of Living workshop.
Okay.
And in the month of June, I'll be traveling to India. So next week and in June, I won't be able to attend the class.
Okay.
I'll also be traveling the next 2 weeks for a conference, so I'll hear your lectures offline.
Right. And if in case you have any questions, then feel free to write. Yeah.
Should I? So there were questions in the earlier. I mean, you had given homeworks in the earlier lectures. Could we mail you or?
Please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you,
Okay.
Swamiji.
Close with a prayer, and if there are any further questions, then we can continue later. Yeah. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha. Sarve Santu Niramayaha. Sarve Santu Niramayaha. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. Ma kaschit dukh abhag bhavet. Ma kaschit dukh abhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Shanti,
Shanti, Shanti,
Shanti,
Shanti.
Shanti.
Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi
Om
Shri Guru Namaha.